Welcome, friends. Are you sitting comfortably? Let me take you to Whitechapel, London, a district that has shed its notorious past like a snake's skin, yet somehow retains darkness in its shadows. Modern glass towers now pierce the sky alongside Victorian architecture, their reflective surfaces a stark contrast to the weathered stone and aged brick that still whispers tales of darker times. Here, in the maze of streets where cobblestones peek through worn asphalt, stands Willow Grove, a private enclave of towering townhouses hidden behind wrought iron gates and ancient plane trees. Number 13, Willow Grove loomed over its neighbors, its Portland stone facade blackened with London's centuries of soot. 4 stories of Gothic Revival architecture, complete with pointed arches and decorative grotesques that seemed to watch passers-by with knowing smirks. The house had belonged to Theodore Montgomery, though few knew the true source of his fortune or the price paid for it. In 1960, a young Theodore had discovered ancient texts hidden in a false wall during renovations. These manuscripts, written in a language that seemed to shift and change as he read them, contained rituals promising unlimited wealth. Desperate after losing his family's fortune in bad investments, Theodore performed the ritual in the house's cellar during a moonless night. The entity he summoned, a thing of smoke and shadows with eyes like dying stars, offered him a deal: unlimited wealth in exchange for the souls of any who attempted to steal it. For 60 years, Theodore built his empire. His investment firm, Montgomery Holdings, became known for its uncanny success rate, though competitors who attempted to steal his clients or trade secrets had a habit of meeting unfortunate ends. The money flowed, and with it came a strange power. Those who borrowed or stole from Theodore found themselves driven to increasingly desperate acts, their souls slowly corrupting until they met violent ends. By 2019, Theodore was 82, his body failing though his mind remained sharp. The house had grown around him like a carapace, its rooms filled with priceless antiquities, Ming vases, Renaissance paintings, and artifacts whose provenance was better left unquestioned. Each object seemed to hold a subtle wrongness, as if they existed slightly out of sync with reality. His loyal staff, Mrs. Collins, George, and William, had served him for decades, protected from the curse by their honest hearts and modest wages. They never asked about the strange sounds that sometimes echoed from the cellar, or why certain rooms in the house remained permanently locked. Enter James Blackwood, a solicitor whose expensive suits and Savile Row appearance masked a soul already tainted by greed. He'd discovered hints of Theodore's true wealth in legal documents and spent years plotting to seize it. His girlfriend, Victoria Pierce, had a reputation in certain circles for helping wealthy patients meet early ends, though nothing could ever be proven. The new staff they brought in were equally corrupt. Marcus, the driver, fresh from a hit-and-run that left a family broken; Frank, the butler, who'd served time for armed robbery; Elena, the cook, whose previous employers died of mysterious poisonings; and a gardener whose hands were more accustomed to digging shallow graves than planting roses. As December's grip tightened on London, the house seemed to watch their machinations with dark amusement. The new staff reported strange occurrences, shadows moving against the light, whispers in empty rooms, and the cellar door that would sometimes shake on its hinges as if something wanted out. Victoria administered Theodore's medications with precise timing, each pill carefully chosen to weaken him further. But she never noticed how his eyes would follow her movements with calculated patience, or how he would sometimes smile when he thought no one was watching. On Christmas Eve, as London disappeared under a blanket of snow, Elena prepared the fatal meal mushroom soup, laced with a cocktail of untraceable toxins. The house creaked and settled around them, its shadows growing longer, darker, more purposeful. Theodore consumed his last meal without complaint, his eyes distant, as if listening to something only he could hear. By Christmas morning, his body lay still beneath the sheets, or so they thought. The conspirators wasted no time. Blackwood arrived with documents declaring himself executor, while the others began cataloging Theodore's treasures. None of them noticed how each object they touched left a subtle mark on their souls, like ink spreading through water. As darkness fell on Christmas Day, Victoria went to prepare Theodore's body for the undertakers. The empty bed sent her rushing through the house, gathering the others for a search. The house seemed to twist around them, corridors leading to unexpected places, rooms appearing where none had been before. Then came the sound of the gramophone from the formal dining room, its haunting waltz drifting through the halls like a siren's call. Victoria found her conspirators seated around the massive mahogany table, their faces illuminated by candlelight that cast no shadows. Each bore a bleeding smile across their throat, their eyes now black pools that reflected nothing. And there sat Theodore at the head of the table, no longer the frail man they'd murdered, but something else, something that wore his face like an ill-fitting mask. His smile revealed too many teeth, his eyes burning with the same light she'd seen in ancient paintings of divine punishment. "Victoria, my dear," he said, his voice resonating with unnatural harmonics, "did you really think I wouldn't protect my investments? The entity I dealt with so long ago requires payment, and your souls will do nicely." The door slammed shut as shadows peeled themselves from the walls, reaching for her with fingers like smoke. The candlelight guttered and died, leaving only Theodore's burning eyes and his final words. "I'm glad you could join us. For eternity." They say number 13 Willow Grove still stands empty, its windows dark except on Christmas Eve, when lights flicker behind heavy curtains. Sometimes passers-by hear a waltz playing from within, accompanied by screams that fade to whimpers, then to silence. And if you look carefully at the grotesques adorning the facade, you might notice they've changed, their faces now bearing striking resemblances to a certain nurse, solicitor, and their conspirators, their stone features frozen in eternal horror. Local estate agents refuse to list the property, and those who venture too close report feeling an overwhelming urge to check their bank accounts, as if something ancient and patient is waiting for another greedy soul to tempt with promises of wealth. After all, the entity's appetite is endless, and Theodore's curse ensures it will never go hungry.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.